We all know this photo. The boot print on the moon, the giant leap for mankind. It's the symbol of an optimistic era when we looked to the stars and saw a future without limits. But what if I told you the most important photo isn't this one? What if I told you that the photo that defines our place in the cosmos was classified, buried, and burned? The story you were told about the end of the Apollo missions isn't just a lie. It's a cover-up. The official story is neat and makes sense on paper. In December of 1972, the Apollo 17 mission was the last. Gene Cernan, the last man to leave his footprints in the lunar dust. The official narrative says the Vietnam War and the oil crisis diverted resources. The public, supposedly, was already bored of seeing people walk on the moon. NASA's focus shifted to the Skylab space station and later to the space shuttle, which was more practical. That's the excuse they've been giving for 50 years. A very convenient excuse to hide the failure, the incompetence, and the terror they felt. But there was a plan for Apollo 18. In the archives, it's a canceled mission, but in reality, it flew. An ultra-secret mission, launched under the cover of night. The target? The Shackleton Crater at the moon's south pole. A region where sunlight never touches, a place of eternal darkness and cold. The official excuse within NASA was to search for vast deposits of water ice. The truth is that an unmanned reconnaissance satellite on a low pass had detected something. A massive magnetic anomaly, something that shouldn't have been there. And that's exactly where they landed. The first photo they sent back was already bizarre. From a distance, it looked like just another gray landscape. But when they zoomed in, the geologists in Houston, locked away in a separate control room, went crazy. Amid common rocks shaped by billions of years of impacts, there was one that defied logic. It wasn't a rock, it was an artifact. Its surface wasn't irregular, but covered in perfect geometric patterns, almost like a biological circuit. That pattern wasn't natural. The first leaked audio is from Commander Ben Anderson. They were ordered to collect a sample, standard procedure, but nothing on that mission was standard. The geological drill, a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment with a synthetic diamond tip designed to cut through any kind of rock, simply shattered against the object's surface. The sound, according to the report, was like shattering glass. 2 hours later, while trying to understand what had happened, the lunar rover's camera, which was pointed at the site, showed the unthinkable. The artifact had vanished, and in its place, a deep trail in the dust. These weren't rolling marks, it was a groove, as if something heavy had been deliberately dragged into the darkness of a nearby crater. That's when they saw the other thing, the proof that they weren't dealing with an object, but with a creature. On the lunar module's plating, covered by a thin layer of dust, there was a mark. It wasn't a boot print. It was the print of a hand, but the fingers were skeletal, far too thin and too long, and the mark was fresh. The thing had touched their ship while they were there. Locked inside the module, the terror became auditory. The silence of the vacuum was broken by sounds transmitted through the ship's structure. They heard it, a low, rhythmic sound of something dragging itself outside, a metallic scratching on the fuselage, slow and deliberate, like claws testing the thickness of the metal that separated them from the void. Through the small, thick quartz window, one of them saw a blur, something moving impossibly fast across the lunar plain, kicking up dust. But there is no wind on the moon to kick up dust like that. Commander Anderson, following protocol for a possible structural failure, decided that he needed to check the exterior for damage. A fatal mistake. That's when he saw it. Standing on the module's ladder, he looked into the darkness where the sound had come from, and he saw it. Not the whole thing, just a part of it, a silhouette standing out against the stars, hiding in the shadow of a rock. He froze, and his voice, which once was that of a confident test pilot, became that of a condemned man. His final transmission was a record of pure terror, a scream muffled by static that echoed across 238,000 miles to a horrified control room on Earth. There was never any contact again. Apollo 18 was erased from the books. The astronauts' names forgotten and listed as killed in a training accident. For 50 years, NASA and the government maintained their silence. Now you know why. It wasn't a lack of money or interest that stopped us from exploring the stars. It was fear. Because on our first great journey, we knocked on our neighbor's door, and we discovered that the universe isn't empty. It's just quiet. And what lives in the quiet doesn't like to be disturbed. We didn't abandon the moon. We were thrown out of our own backyard.